We talked about, how you felt about the Me Too movement as you were coming into the role, how, it was kind of a bit of I don't want to say red flag, but that's the thing that comes to my head when they say we would like a woman. That was a little bit of a tell. But I wanted to ask you, so the Industry Observer published an op-ed recently, and it was from this behavioural change consultancy called ACO, and they teamed up with Bastion Reputation Management. They do strategic corporate communications and reputation management as well. In it, they talked about a multi-staged approach and how we needed something like that, and they talked about workplace regulation, which you touched on. Mm-hmm. We're like a non-regulated industry. They talked about a code of conduct, and they talked about closure through a healing process. Obviously, it's an op-ed. They can't go deep. They can't say, this is the exact pathway. Yeah. But I just wanted to get your opinion on it and what you thought of those kind of, those very surface-level pathways that were suggested.
Look, this is every industry is regulated around workplace safety. So you are not allowed to sexually harass people at work. It's illegal. So we have the exact same rules in place as every other industry around that. Cultural change is really difficult, and it doesn't happen overnight. And you have to look at what's going on, what are the causes for this sorts of things happening, what is underlying all of this, and then you work out how to address it. There isn't a lot of data in this industry, honestly, or research. Obviously, we had Jeff Crabtree's research earlier this year, but there isn't much to tell us exactly what's going on. I think
that's the only one. I feel like that's 4 years he spent 4 years on it, but I don't know one that's done a deep dive into sexual harassment and bullying and assault on that level. And you're right, that's the only one.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think we have our own ideas about what makes this industry slightly different and more vulnerable to bad behaviour. But like I said, it's not just this industry, and there is underlying all of this a sort of respect issue, an equality issue, and a power imbalance issue. But some of those things are exacerbated in music because so many people want to be in music. It is such a desirable industry to be in, such a desirable job to have, that the people who have the gatekeeper roles have way more power proportionately than people working in a bank. Not to say it doesn't happen in banks, it does. It happens everywhere.
But aren't music industry workers so lucky that their office is a festival ground, Yes. Yeah.
But all of those places are workplaces, like venues where people are performing, photography studios, recording studios, they're all workplaces. So there's a part about enforcing that law. We need to find out what's going on. We need to do more work. One of the things that came out of that meeting earlier this year was the need to consult with the industry around what's happening to their people, what experiences have people had, where is it happening. And I think that work is very close to starting. I know the temporary working group's been working incredibly hard through extremely difficult and sensitive issues. How do you get a whole industry to come together to do a piece of work? Even the logistics of it is so difficult. But there's a real will there, and they are, they've got something together that hopefully they'll be able to talk about a bit more soon. But I think it starts with that consultation process, which is what happened in New Zealand. Then we look at the causes, and then we look at recommendations on what we need to do. In the meantime, everybody in this industry should be looking at their own practices and saying, what do I need to do better? What potential risks are there in terms of the people I'm working with? What do I need to do better? Where are the problems? We're not sitting around waiting for this big piece of work to happen industry-wide. We need to look inside and say, what do we need to do?
Yeah, and just on that, we were contacted by Support Act, who have partnered with a company that is offering free sexual harassment awareness training.
Yeah, it's
and
great.
We're doing ours next week. We're really excited to do that. And I think part of the learning from that will be under, like what you said before, that sexual harassment and assault is a crime,
Yep.
and understanding what denotes a crime, because a lot of people don't understand that certain things that they think are just perhaps inappropriate is actually a crime. That's assault.
Well, it's just, there is a sort of area where I think people need to be educated about what is and isn't okay. And, you hear, after Me Too, you heard the whole, oh, it's gone too far and now I don't want to be in meetings with women because, oh my God, they might think I'm, that's all crap. But there is a sort of, people do need to understand what is okay and what isn't okay at a certain point. But then you've got this whole area of behaviour where everybody should understand, no, that is not okay and should not be happening. But yeah, I think it all comes back to respect.